with their purge of federal agencies, and they announced the next department on the chopping block. Take a look.
How soon do you want the Department of Education to be closed?
Oh, I'd like it to be closed immediately. Look, the Department of Education's a big con job. We're ranked, so they rank the top 40 countries in the world. Norway, Denmark, Sweden, I hate to say it, China, as big as it is, it's ranked in the top 5. And that's a primary competitor. We're ranked number 40. So if we're ranked number 40, that means something's really wrong, right?
We do need to...
Something is really wrong. We are ranked number 40. There's a lot that's wrong. But you know, I don't know, man. I'm starting to get like, what is the plan after we've closed the Department of Education? What is the next plan? Yes, we're going to drop it off to the states. I get it. Like, do the states have a plan? Like, what's the plan? Because then nothing changes, right? So, okay. And then coming back to the point on this is, you know, yeah, in this episode, of course, we could have a real discussion about the Department of Education. Of course, the ladies are going to take it too far. Sunny Hostin, as usual. Matter of fact, they really give Alyssa a hard time. So you're going to just see the chaos. Like, it's always chaos on this channel. So let's go ahead and get into it.
Delete entire agencies as opposed to leave part of them behind. If you don't remove the roots of the weed, then it's easy for the weed to grow back. But if you remove the roots of the weed, it doesn't stop weeds from ever growing back, but it makes it harder.
So is completely deleting these agencies and kicking education back to the states, because that's what this means, that's what it means. Is this going to make things run more smoothly? Maybe it will.
First of all, they're lying. He's a liar. The United States is not ranked 40. The United States...
It isn't. What is it ranked, Joy?
Well, the U.S. is ranked up there, better. It's not 40. They just make things up.
We're 29th in the world in math, and we're in the 20s globally.
Yeah, it's not 40.
So it's not 40.
Right. I mean, they get these numbers from Elon Musk's son, the little kid. That's where they're coming up with this stuff. It ranks number 6 in reading, 12 in science, 28 in math. Okay, math's hard, but it's not 40.
Nothing is hard.
But what happens 40. When they cut, what really bothers me right now.
Mm-hmm. But you know what the problem is that our standards, I feel like, I don't know if it's as a people or what, you know, it's like, oh, but we're not 40, we're just 29. Maybe he said 40 because 29 feels like 40. And maybe to the person who thinks that I'm taking it too far, that's how my dad would be. My dad would be like, if you're not number 1, you know, like, for real. All right, maybe not fully number 1, right? But like, he would tell you, like, if you're not at least top 5, like, you might as well just tell me that you're 40. That's how I grew up, right? You know? So it's not far-fetched.
What's really making me crazy, because of the specific, I mean, is they're cutting programs for basically poor people, people who are in the minorities, and that's who's going to suffer. Yeah. You have this guy who's worth $1 trillion, this Elon, and he's cutting things from people who need it. It's pathetic, and people should not put up with it.
I mean, technically, they could really give the money to, like, the states and stuff. Like, they could still get the money, right? When it just goes straight to the states. We could do voucher programs and stuff like that. Because, I mean, to be honest, like, when it comes to this, the only reason why, because at the end of the day is like, all right, I'm going to say this with the Department of Education, like, my concern is, like, this does not make anything better. It doesn't all of a sudden mean, cutting the Department of Education does not mean that all of a sudden schools are going to now be better in how they teach, okay? But it kind of does, it definitely brings the power back to the people, but then I can't even fully say that because in Philadelphia, we don't, in Philly, elect our school board. The mayor appoints the people. So I guess you would, you know, have to pick a certain kind of mayor and everything else. So it still does kind of bring well, anyway, sorry. I'm just working it out in my head. But really, it's like, oh, it's going to stop stuff for the poor people. You should see these schools in Philadelphia. They look so terrible. They look like little prisons. They have bars on the windows, the whole bit. They look bad. No air conditioning, nothing for the poor people. For the poor people, what? The kids don't even want to stay in school. The freaking textbooks are like broke, like ripped up. And I'll go on a bigger rant about it in a little bit. But in the meantime, I want to thank everybody who's watching these videos. I am going to be in the comments tonight. Thank you to everybody who's supported me. I love all of y'all. I'm serious. I'm so grateful. Please don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button and the notification bell.
Can I get in on this? Because, getting rid of the Department of Education is actually the first goal listed in the education section of Project 2025. We were talking about Project 2025. We warned everybody that that was the playbook, and it remains the playbook, and they are playing by that book.
Well,
it is also the small...
Sorry. Nobody's upset. Like, here she goes. She's about to be, Project 2025 is here. Y'all gonna, everything's bad. Nobody's crying about the Department of Education being closed. Nobody's crying about it. The Dems are saying that they can't even fight back. So, okay, now what?
Smallest of all the government agencies. So if you get rid of the Department of Education, you really don't have this sort of financial boon that they're telling you that you're going to have. And I have a clip because there is a Republican senator. He's from Arizona. His name is Schweikart, and he has emphasized this. Congressman, rather.
Just so you know, she was big mad when she cut her off and checked her. Okay? I know how people like her are, and she really can't stand Alyssa, so she probably was like, okay, Congressman, whatever, like, she always talking. All right, let's get into it.
Rather, we have the clip.
Let's get rid of foreign aid. You just covered 1 week of borrowing. Can't tell you how many times I'm at home and people say, if we just didn't have foreign aid, we could balance the budget. It's a week of borrowing. U.S. will waste billions of dollars on the United Nations. Okay, get rid of the United Nations. 2 days of borrowing. Don't act like you just balanced the budget by doing something like that. Let's just get rid of the Department of Education salaries. Yay! You covered 9 hours of borrowing.
So you see, so it's not really about saving money.
No.
I think there's a much more nefarious reason for it. I think it's...
Okay, before Sunny gives you her big reason for it, like this revelation is going to be crazy, right? Let me just say, what the guy said is true, but to me still, like, if this, look, nefarious reasons, I told you I don't like the people around Trump, so I really don't know, like, what is the point of this. I don't trust government. I'm not supposed to. But if it's a waste and you're really cutting it off to do something appropriate with it, yeah, I still don't care if it was just 9 hours. Like, we could just still, because he's talking about foreign aid and all of that, we could still cut it off and then give it back to the people, or, fix some infrastructure. Like, where is it going? What is it going to do? Because this is supposed to be for, like, less taxes and all that. So, like, does it measure up to that result? Then, yeah, I don't care. That's fine. Keep it, let's allocate it to something better, right? Because, by the way, when these people were like, oh, let's defund the police and stuff, they would say, oh, we're just going to allocate funds from the police to Black History museums. Like, what? They're wondering why everybody was getting slaughtered. All right, let's go ahead to Sunny.
It's because without education, you get cheaper labor. I think what they want to do is create in the United States a permanent underclass, a permanent cheap workforce, because educated workers cost more. That is the bottom line, and that's what they're doing. So I don't...
Oh, man. Did y'all hear that big revelation? Girl, we don't even deserve Sunny Hostin. Like, this is serious. Like, the kind of, response that I have to give this. Like, she could have said anything else. You know what she could have said? She could have said, I think that they're just getting rid of all this money just to put it back into the Pentagon without people knowing. I would have even gave her more respect if she would have said that. No, she said something dumb. It's going to make a permanent lower class. Let me tell you about, again, the schools in Philadelphia. Most of the kids, unfortunately, make it to the prisons. They can't even I was a prison nurse. When they write the sick call and say they have a headache, not spell headache, and I wasn't a prison nurse in a pediatric facility, like a child facility. I was with adults. They were 18 and older. Headache, HEDAKE. I'm serious, and I'm not making fun of anybody. So don't worry. That little revelation you just had, we already have it with the Department of Education here. You don't care. You just want to be right. With your little head up high and your nose up high. You are not connected to the people, so don't act like you are. But let's watch them pile on Alyssa Farah, because you know they always pile on that girl. Matter of fact, we could just even skip over to that part, because they're about to pile on her in about 2.2 seconds.
Elon are too quick to demonize federal workers. Some of the biggest breakthroughs in national security, public health have come from civil servants. But to Democrats, to act like they're all saints and that this is horrible to get rid of anyone, most people have interacted with the federal government and they think it is too inefficient. It doesn't work. And what I would argue is that most Americans hear about this federal buyout that basically gives you about 8 months paid leave to leave
That's what they say.
They say if that actually comes true, most Americans would never get that in their job, and they would think that's amazing. They also can't relate to civil servants basically being unfireable up to this point. So there is a lot that I'm concerned about and want more answers, but it's not out of step with
That's called throwing the baby out. Throwing the baby out with the baby water.
Okay, so what I would say is kind of
They all
echoing.
be ready to fight Alyssa. You know, that's just really what it is. Joy couldn't take herself. She was like, yelling just now. Sunny sits back. She doesn't care what Alyssa's saying. It's like this broad, there she go talking again. Alyssa is like the most watered down, vanilla, so-called Republican. I'm sure she believes in like all kinds of degeneracy, just as long as people wear suits and do it, Like, believe me, before she makes a elementary basic assessment of, like a constitutional writer, like some like big government answer that she's going to give, some so-called conservative answer she's going to give, she has to tell them 10 times that she doesn't like Trump first. Like, miss me with it all. The fact is, I wasn't against this thought of the removing the Department of Education. To me, they can really do whatever they want, because at the end of the day, they're just going to, at the end of the day, all they do is like, they're still going to do whatever they want to do anyway in the States. Like, we really have to pay attention. We do. But for the reasons given here, you guys, please. This is why nobody listens to you. I'll see you guys at the next one. Bye.